Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to another 24/7 news report where we are bringing you up to speed with all the latest Everton transfer news as we draw even closer to the opening game of the season without having really made any substantial new signings. Certainly no first team new signings, you'd imagine. And in spite of all that, we're actually going to start on this show with a potential outgoing, and you'll be not surprised to know that that's MOISE KEAN. He's been obviously kicking up a bit of a fuss among Evertonians on social media lately. Last night it appears like that he's removed all his Everton related images and content from his accounts, even including the anti-racism banner that we made for him, which is, I think fans feel a little bit as though he's throwing a lot of the fans' goodwill back in our faces, which is understandable. But for MOISE KEAN, as far as he's concerned, it looks as though his mind's made up and he wants out, and he's really digging his heels in now and making life difficult for us. It seems that way anyway. As far as his aim to escape is concerned, obviously Paris might be out of the running now following the Lionel Messi announcement, but according to Sky Italia today, Mino Raiola, his agent, is apparently trying to negotiate a deal with him to go to Inter Milan, who are of course selling Lukaku to Chelsea for around 115 million euros apparently. So, we should be due. We could imagine we could try and command a decent fee there, but apparently Inter is pushing for a loan, which will be a bit of an insult to Everton as far as recouping some money is concerned, because it's they've got a lot of money coming in there, and I know they're not in the best situation financially, but I still reckon we could command a return on what we invested in MOISE KEAN, and I think it's been insulting to be pushing for a loan, knowing that you've got a bit of a windfall coming in. I'm not sure if that's going to be a goer. I mean, unless we can sort out a deal with an obligation to buy, maybe. I don't know how we'll be sanctioning a loan deal for MOISE KEAN. Moving on, and if that sort of situation's quite depressing, then this is a name that I never thought I'd be saying on one of these shows, and that's Sean Longstaff. Rafa Benitez is apparently very keen on this player, and of course he worked with him at Newcastle. But the Athletic are saying that there's been initial talks held over Longstaff. His contract's running out at the end of the upcoming season, and he's apparently be quite cheap. But with that in mind, is he really what we need? I really disagree. And another one that's come out today, of course, another English player, a more well-known one, but no less unambitious, if you like. I think Fabrizio Romano has spoken about Harry Winks. He said that Everton have an interest in Harry Winks and that he's really happy at Spurs, but he still wants to show his skills at Spurs, but we're still interested, which is, that all, as far as, I take that, I think that suggests that he's looking to, we'd end up paying a high fee for that player, and, English, if he doesn't really want to move, Tottenham are going to command top dollar. Daniel Levy's negotiations will always end up that way. That is not a good move in any way, shape, or form, as far as I'm concerned. And again, we need to steer clear. Now for a more pleasing rumour, but not necessarily given the state we're in, one that might be a goer, and that's a link to Dennis Zakaria, who's the Swiss midfielder playing for Mönchengladbach, big and strong, pretty impressive. He's done really well since he's played for Mönchengladbach and for Switzerland. He's a big, strong midfielder, holding midfielder. He's exactly what I'd like to see us sign in midfield moving forward. But yeah, apparently we're linked with him along with Arsenal, Spurs, Roma and Napoli. And that comes from CF Bayern, that rumour. And I'm not sure how much is in it. I mean, we might have an interest, but whether we can afford him, given the absolute wretched state we're in, is another thing altogether. And I know this is starting to sound really depressing, guys, but it just is the nature of this transfer window for us. And unfortunately, it looks like it might be the nature of the season. And the big transfer target of the whole summer, Denzel Dumfries, is looking like he's going to Inter Milan. Alfredo Padulia, the journalist, has said PSV want 20 million, but Inter have looked like they're going to strike a deal of around 15 million with 5 million in bonuses. And that was obviously coming from that Lukaku windfall that I was mentioning earlier, in spite of their own financial difficulties. But the fact that our major transfer target of the summer has been, we've missed out on him, and it was a pretty reasonable fee as well. That is really, really infuriating as far as I'm concerned. And, I think there should be serious ramifications for some people at the club for allowing us to end up in this state. Um, by that I do mean Marcel Brands. I think that's obviously for a different show, but I'm obviously not happy with the fact that we've landed ourselves in this kind of situation. As an alternative to Dumfries, we've been linked by Abola to and we're right back, Aurelio Buta. He's Portuguese. Looks as though, according to them, we've beaten Celtic to his signing, and say we're shopping in the same sort of markets as Celtic isn't the most promising, but then again, we might be better off going for under the radar signings. He's 24, very quick. Not sure how good he is, but just to have some pace in the team would be pretty decent at the moment because we look very slow and one dimensional. So it might turn out to be a good sort of maybe a pleasant surprise. Maybe we might need to make a few more of these under the radar signings who surprise us in a good way rather than big signings who surprised us in a bad way too often in recent years. On to outgoings, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been linked with Spurs if Harry Kane goes to Manchester City by the Daily Express. No, not going to happen. It would never happen. I'm not too sure if Harry Kane will go to City this summer. We'll have to wait and see what develops there. But even if he does, I don't think it'll be Calvert-Lewin that will be replacing him. I don't think we'd be selling him. And if we did, it'd be we'd be getting close to the record that's not long been set for Jack Grealish. We'd be talking just short of 100 million, I reckon, at least, if it was ever going to be considered. But yeah, that's not going to happen, in my opinion. One that I wouldn't mind seeing happen is the rumours surrounding Alex Iwobi potentially going to Atalanta. They're saying they're interested, but however, the price tag is probably a bit too high for Atalanta, who were notoriously frugal in the market and do very good transfer business, get good bang for the buck, very much unlike us. So why they're after Alex Iwobi makes me wonder, is there something we don't see? Is there something we're not getting out of Iwobi that perhaps a better run club could? But we'd have to. I'm not completely convinced that there's any interest from Atalanta in Iwobi. This might just be a rumour, come from Tuto Mercato, who are not the most reliable sources among the ones that we feature on the show, so I'm not too sure about that one. And finally, we're going to finish with another shock horror, depressing story, and that's James Rodriguez and Yerry Mina have obviously been discussing the upcoming season on James Rodriguez's much talked about Twitch streams, and James has basically said something that hasn't really sat well with Everton supporters. Not that it's not necessarily false what he said, but basically Yerry Mina said that he wants James to stay, and he said this publicly on the Twitch stream, and that he wants them to stick around together at Everton and make history. James' response to that was, we're at a team that is not the best, but can still compete with anybody. I want to keep playing, but I want to do well, whether it's here or wherever I am. And I think obviously it's suggesting that he's going to move, but also it's the kind of we're not the best thing, which we know we're not. But to be coming out and saying that publicly isn't the best PR for the club, and also it's it's a bit of kick in the teeth. It shows that he has no belief in us getting to the levels that we want to get to, which, to be fair, I don't think many of us fans believe it either. But like I say, as someone who's a custodian, he's playing for the club. He's being paid by the club to try and lift us to a higher level. To say those kind of words isn't what we want to hear on the eve of a new season. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing from James. And again, like MOISE KEAN, it's looking a lot more likely in recent weeks that James Rodriguez will leave. Not too many recent rumours regarding that, but the window's still got a couple of weeks to run, and with us trying to get a few players in, it might be a possibility that James does go. Some are very unhappy about that. Some are happy to consider it if it means for the greater good of Everton in terms of finances and rebuilding the squad. But it's one of them. It's always sad to lose a player of that quality, and also, like I say, not the best to hear him speak the way he did about the club. But we'll have to wait and see if he features on Saturday. Of course, Southampton coming up as well. And finally, a bit of good news at long last. Richarlison, of course, returned from the Tokyo Olympics, having won a gold medal, and was greeted with a big banner and a huge round of applause from the whole squad on the training ground as he returned to Finch Farm today. So it was a rare positive there. So yeah, hopefully that kind of spirit that we saw in the training ground today, that might be the one sort of saving grace, and we might do all right on Saturday, and the season might be better than the worst that we're all fearing, and then we're not all happy about what's going on. But hopefully we can get off to a good start in the game on Saturday and lift a few spirits, and then maybe get a few players in the door before the window closes on the 31st. But yeah, until then, guys, like I say, not the most positive show, but definitely try and keep yourselves in as high a spirits as possible. And let's see what happens. Let's keep an eye on Saturday, and all eyes turn to that, and fingers crossed for a good start to the season. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the show. Let us know your opinions on all the transfer rumours, and drop us a comment below. Get involved. Ring the bell for more content, and subscribe. Give this video a like, and until next time, guys, thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues. I'll see you soon.